Прошу, открой! Я не могу открыть. Нельзя выпускать инфекцию.
To me, the best thing about a franchise is when you start to kind of feel like on some other plane, this world exists, you know, and it's fun to get to return to it and learn more about it. And I think also because it's never really repeated itself. And although there are elements of this I know really wanted to return to the excitement and the horror of the first one, it's still also a new story too. And I think as long as they can keep the stories fresh, the audience is there to enjoy the ride, you know, hopefully. 'Cause I feel you. I know you know.
I think, you know, Walter is definitely just a different AI than David. He doesn't have ambition, he doesn't have pride, he doesn't have these human characteristics that are somewhere in David's programming. So he's a pretty selfless unit. You know, all he's there to do is basically preserve and protect the crew and the ship. And that's his function. He's just, you know, it's a very clear program for him.
А вдруг они не лучше нас?
Лишь бы не были хуже.
I think David is raised the question about AIs in a really interesting fashion because I think he's still finding out who he is and what he wants to do. And his frustration with his creators is demonstrated in the prologue, when 4 minutes he's already asking tricky questions and already dangerous to his creator. So it's a big lesson about making AIs. Make sure that you're in charge. If you don't make sure, they're going to be in charge in a heartbeat. And if you a chess game, he'd beat you in 6 moves every time. Then it would be 3 moves, then it would be 2 moves. So when an AI is that independently brilliant to beyond genius level, there's a great combination of that idle hands are the devil's work, which is what David uses as a quote. So he sat around thinking, what am I going to do? I've isolated myself by dropping a bomb in this community because I didn't admire it, and I've got rid of all the humans in my life because I hated them, and therefore he starts his own studio, as it were, or like Leonardo da Vinci would begin with his own studio, and seeing that how he could actually evolve form. He knew he had the form that would destroy, but he knew that when you combine that form with the humanoid DNA, you've got a creature. He found that out from Prometheus.
I think it's to do with space, number one. I think we're obviously, you know, very drawn to space and curious and fascinated by it. We always have been, from any civilizations that we've studied, the stars come into play. And I think the idea of something coming and taking over, dominating us as a species, I think that's something that's innate in us as well. And then the idea of it being sort of parasitical, you know, that it grows from within us and incubates inside us. That's kind of gross.
Seed the stars, people, to the covenant. Covenant. Make eye contact.
You're right down there.
But also what's interesting about the film, I think, is that at the beginning, there are these sub-communities, because there's all these couples. So they are bonded at the beginning, and there are different factions and groups, that couples who are friends with other couples, and then the private moments that are where these, you know, pairs connect. And it just is a very different and unique dynamic, I think, in comparison to the other alien films.
Ты уверен, капитан?
А что такое?
Да мы ж ни хрена не знаем, что там.
Ridley's genius is really understanding like what would be most disturbing to people, you know, like to imagine themselves experiencing something like this. I mean, the iconic chest bursting scene in the original Alien movie, you know, what's most disturbing about it is that the guy's eating. He's sitting at a table, he's with his friends, he's feeling better. He's just doing some just very normal everyday thing. And then, you know, to imagine some sensation happening inside your body, I mean, it's so disturbing. And the facehugger too, you know, he's always dreaming up new ways to disturb the audience, of course, but also in Prometheus when the slivery thing goes inside the spacesuit, you know, he's tapping into these pre-existing fears of claustrophobia, not being able to breathe, not being able to see, having something under your skin. I mean, it's all brilliantly disturbing.
The singularity of their purpose, their unconflicted about what they're here to do in the world. I mean, that's a predator right there. You know, there's and to have a predator with that kind of physical attribute and intelligence is a terrifying idea. But when you talk to Ridley about it, nearly every aspect, if not every aspect, of the alien creature is taken from things that have already existed on our planet. He's done a mashup of them, but he'll show you photographs of the two-jawed fish or whatever that inspired this, or, you know, a certain kind of blood that is acidic in a way or something. You know, he has taken the approach that if you find the Earth-like biological analog, that it'll make it even more scary because it'll be realistic.